Tamati and say, I want an estate plan.
His own life, very nice people, very, educated and whatnot.
No, it comes from the estate. So what you're doing by by letting your property go to probate is you're giving the government some of your own money.
Correct.
That's something my grandmother would do.
Yeah, that's something my grandmother would do too.
1,000%.
And book therapists.
Book a therapy session for those that decided not to plan accordingly.
Time to adapt to this.
Yeah.
Women couldn't have credit cards until like 1970 something. My mom was born before that.
And like the inability of people to understand how stressful it is because not only are we stressed because we want to do well, but now we know that people are expecting us to do well. I also think it's very difficult to find a jury that doesn't feel one way or the other about police involved incidents.
I remember that. I saw that.
Because it's 2 classes and you have to be clean for an entire year.
She wants to keep smoking. Welcome to the Lawyer's Lounge, where we talk about legal nightmares that turned into legal solutions and maybe some behind the scenes stuff.
Baby daddies, HOA, business breakups, we've seen a lot. And believe me, there is a right way to get it done.
And if you're here, you're probably looking for an attorney or some free legal advice. This is not the place to do that. If you want to speak to any of us as attorneys, you can go to rrb-lawyers.com and book a free consultation.
There we go.
There we go. It's so weird being on this side now. I'm so
I
used
know.
to looking at
I went to go look this way for Claudia's, and I was like, no, she's over here. So you'll notice that we are not in our regular studio because today we're shooting from our office.
our new office.
Our new office.
You're
We're still
Miami
moving
Lakes.
in.
Yeah.
We're in Miami Lakes now.
Miami Lakers.
Miami Lakers. That's so exciting. I love Miami Lakes.
Very exciting.
So why don't we talk a little bit about that? You guys have transitioned, obviously. You guys were in
South Miami.
South Miami, yeah, Sunset,
South Miami. Yeah.
Sunset, and then decided to come to the great city of Miami Lakes.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more about that.
So we've expanded our office. We kind of grew out of our Sunset office, and I live in Miami Lakes. I've been here for a very, very long time. Alexis used to work in Miami Lakes. Claudia loves Miami Lakes.
Yeah.
So, and we have a lot of roots and ties in Miami Lakes, so when we came to tour the new office, it just like felt right,
Yeah, it was
you
very
just get a
comfortable,
feeling. Yeah, so I definitely think that first the space, like it just felt right. And second, the community felt right. We love this community,
Yeah.
so it was just kind of the right fit.
Yeah.
We had already been networking in this area, meeting a lot of other people, and everyone that we came across, it was just like it felt comfortable, it felt easy, and I think this was one of the easiest decisions we've made since we opened the business.
And also the location is great. It's right in the main street in Miami Lakes. So it's easy for people who live in the south to like come here. Same people who come from like Fort Lauderdale and whatnot. So the location is very good.
And we have a bunch of restaurants and things downstairs, so if we want to meet with people, like we did this morning,
Yeah.
had a meeting over coffee and breakfast, literally downstairs.
And we came right back up, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna go have our lunch meeting downstairs, so we don't have to even get in the car.
Yeah,
to
we're not
go
wasting
anywhere.
time.
More time for the client.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
A lot of growing pains when it comes to owning a business, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of it firsthand from you guys, which is cool to experience.
I'm glad you think it's cool.
I think it's
Someone
cool.
does.
I think it's cool to see it from afar because I empathize as I go through the same thing myself. So it's interesting to watch it outside of my personal experience with, running a business. But nonetheless, still, you know what it is? I think that I'm an asshole because I'm like, yep, go through it because I go through this.
Yeah, right? You're like, all right, feel it.
Yeah, there's a word for that in German. I don't remember the word. I'll look it up later. But like, it's when you delight in other people's misery.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I wouldn't
I
go
think
that
there is
far.
a word for
I don't
that.
delight in your misery,
But
but I
yeah.
definitely empathize, and
Look it up.
it's cool to see. It's cool to watch, to witness.
It's cool.
It's interesting
It's-
to witness.
I don't want to say it's fun, but it's exciting. Like it's one of those like almost like anxious excitements where like I'm not happy that we're dealing with what we're dealing with because it's stressful and it causes anxiety and we're trying to figure out what the next best step is. But the fact that we're having these issues means that we're getting somewhere, we're growing, we're doing something right because now we're having to deal with new things. So it's weird in a good way being an attorney, but also being a business owner. It's so completely different. And I think attorneys naturally have an instinct to like run ourselves into the ground and want to be running all the time, but we have to be business owners at the same time. So you can't just wear one hat. Now we have to wear 10 hats and figure out how to balance that time out. And I think we're learning as we go. We've done a pretty good job, I think, so far, but the growing pains
the clients are happy,
painful.
the cases are going well, we're trying our best, and that's, what
we're not
matters.
homeless yet, so
Correct. Yeah, we're not homeless, so that's good.
And our employees are not homeless, so
That is good.
And I think that's like the biggest fear I think
Yeah.
that we have, or like the biggest pressure point, where
homelessness.
well, my employees' homelessness, right? So like I'm always afraid that, I'm not afraid, but like I feel responsible for my employees, and by that virtue, their families, because if this person is depending on the job that I'm providing, their family is depending on them. So it's a lot of pressure.
And that, and added to the fact that we have to continue learning and growing as attorneys, and keep up with the changes in the law, keeping up with the client, providing good customer service, and on top of it, we're concerned about how much money the practice is going to make, so we can continue growing and paying our people. But something that I really appreciate is that we all get to go through this together.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been able to do it on my own.
No, alone.
It is very hard. But doing it with you guys, is very enjoyable. It's as enjoyable as it can be, which is great.
This is the most emotion I'm going to show
I
the whole
know.
day.
I thought she was gonna cry. I thought you were gonna cry.
I know. I was ready for it. I've been so anxious all week that I have
looking.
tears right back there. But those are for my bedroom and my bedroom alone. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's gonna be for the therapist that we're gonna call.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm going to
immediately
call
after
as soon
this.
as this is over.
Yes.
Correct. So
Everybody's going to therapy now. Well,
Yes.
I mean, not everybody in the world, but we're advocating for all
Yes.
of our friends.
I'm officially calling today and scheduling an appointment.
Yeah.
I think it's time to,
Stress manage.
because this is stressful. And I've been very good at dealing with anxiety and life and whatever, but adding this into the mix, it becomes a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and mentally, I think having an outlet with somebody that can actually give me feedback and give me constructive
we're professional
work.
because we give you
Yeah.
feedback, but we're not
No,
professional.
exactly. Someone that
we're
can
just
give me,
two unhinged, crazy friends that
like,
are telling you
that sometimes
yeah.
listen to my crazy and they're like, oh, and
It's not that bad.
and other
It's
times they're
fine.
like, you have problems, figure that out.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to
Also,
it.
we don't give you we don't give you the tools to manage it. And
Exactly.
two, if we do give you the tools, they might not be the correct tools.
Yeah, so it's a new path. We're moving offices, moving mental health into a professional office.
We're hiring new people. We hired someone new today.
Yeah, we did. They just started
is-
today, so.
We're going through the process of creating processes for the employees and learning their processes ourselves, because again, we're only attorneys, and we are learning how to do business owners and business partners.
If I
Yeah.
hear the word processes or KPI
I know.
one more time,
I know.
I'm gonna cry.
Just
But
give me
it
a
works.
complaint or an eviction or.
But it works. And you know what? I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to develop the
I am very excited because that's going to translate to better service to our clients and more growth, and we're going to have more time to prepare better and to learn more, and
I'm excited for that part of it.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of work,
Yeah.
like everything, nothing comes
always.
easy.
Yeah.
But I think that this,
But the end result is going to be
Yeah.
worth it tenfold. So
I'm very excited for this new chapter of us as business owners, as business partners, and the practice, and also being able to offer more services to our clients. So that's great.
And quicker turnaround times too, because
Yeah, because
the
we'll have
better
more
our-
capability now. of-
Yeah, the better our team. If you depend on one person to do it all, obviously it creates a backlog.
Us, yeah.
Yeah, like a traffic jam. But when you have the team in place, everything
Yeah,
just
it's a
moves
support
so much,
system.
So
It's-
much better.
Yeah, and you have also, we have developed that, I would say that ability to get back to our clients, because we are the attorneys who actually pick up the phone and talk to the clients, which I also think that's something that has helped the business grow and the way we are growing, and we've been able to bring in more clients.
We're accessible.
Because we are accessible. We're not the attorneys you have to make the appointment to make an appointment with the attorney. Let me make an appointment to schedule a phone call with the attorney. I don't believe that that is good for my clients, because at the end of the day, although we recognize that we can't talk to all the clients every day for like 30 minutes, with that in mind, we want to be accessible because we know that they're going through something and we have to be there. And at the end of the day, we provide a service like any other service, right? And we can be fired at any time as attorneys, and we also, we can also fire the clients at any time. So having that distinction, that taking the time of like getting back to them as quick as we can.
Yeah, while still getting everything that we need to get done.
Yeah, and it makes
it's a balancing act.
And
for
you
your
know
clients.
what too? The fact that here, you're not gonna have every 2 months a different attorney that you have to get to know. I've noticed, and like this is the same as you hire and different employees and stuff. Like it happens, right? Where like the attorney that was there is no longer there. But I think one of the benefits of having us is that we're always going to be the attorney that's there.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Reyes, Reves Betancourt, it's not going anywhere. Like we'll be us unless we die.
We made a pact till we die.
Don't kill us yet. Somehow we always turn to death.
I know.
It's a coping mechanism. That's what therapy is for.
Exactly.
If you think you're going to die, get yourself an estate plan.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You see?
Shameless plug.
Everybody thinks, I think I'm gonna die. I'm like, okay,
mean,
I
you
gotta
are
get
gonna die.
ready.
They think they're gonna die.
My
Everybody
grandma
knows they're gonna die.
No. My grandma, she thinks she's gonna live forever. She don't talk to her about it. She's like, niña, ¿qué es eso? ¿Cómo tú vas a hablar de la muerte? Like, how are you gonna talk about death? No.
Does she realize that that's like part of the human condition?
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a choice.
So she's like Walt Disney. She's gonna freeze herself.
Yeah. She's
around
one of
forever.
those, one of those people who say, oh, don't disconnect me. Like, keep me alive for as long as you can,
No.
in case there's something that
That's
I can like,
bananas.
like be reborn or whatever, clone and whatnot. I'm like, no, one life is enough. That's it. Just let me go in peace.
You also need to. This is okay. So can I bring something up, like a legal standpoint or whatever? So this is part of an estate plan, right? The pull the plug document, which is really, it's called your living will. That's what it's called. But when you keep a person alive on a ventilator, it's actually extremely painful.
What do you
Because
mean?
you're intubated.
Oh.
You are potentially not. You may or may not be conscious. There's no way to know, but it's not easy. It's not fun. Like you're not there like chilling on vacation.
Oh,
No.
obviously.
It's like doctors do not recommend to keep the patient or the person on a ventilator.
I mean, they give you the option because many people do the power of attorney with the healthcare surrogate, but they don't have the living will, right?
You should.
So now you're leaving it into somebody else's hands.
Correct.
So the thing is that that's why you want to go to an estate planning attorney, because I'm going to tell you that you need all three.
There you go.
You need all three, because just because you have the healthcare surrogate, that doesn't.
Well, you also have it in a package.
Yeah, I
it's
have it
not
in a
going to be more
package, exactly.
That's not
expensive
an
because
option,
you add a
like, here you go.
document.
No,
Yeah, you like give it to
in a
everybody.
package. It's a full estate plan, and you get to decide for yourself. Maybe your grandma does want to be connected for infinity and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like that's fine, and that is the person's choice.
Yeah, but
You
just
know?
make sure you put it somewhere so that they know that. I wouldn't leave that choice for me up to anybody else. I've already told my sister, I'm like, listen,
Unplug me, bro.
unplug me.
Oh yeah, let me go. I'll
I
be
told my
fine.
husband, unplug me.
Yeah.
Let me die
Which,
before
by the
your
way,
phone. Like,
I haven't changed my estate plan since I got married. You always want to change your estate plan when you've made money moves and when you've made life moves.
Correct.
So when you bought a new property or you've invested into whatever, a different
Opened up a new bank account.
something like that, you want to revise and review, right? And then big life events, when you've had a baby, when you've gotten divorced, when you've gotten married, if you've had new grandchildren in your life, you want to do it. And
like
like
you gotta account for everything.
cuchillo de pan, what is it? Like I am the one saying this, and as the estate planning attorney,
But she
mind
hasn't
you,
done
I
it,
haven't
yeah.
done it. So my mom is still my power of attorney, my healthcare surrogate, all of that stuff. And I know that she's, like we have a clause in the estate planning documents that say, if she is unwilling or unable. My mom is going to be unwilling and unable. She's never going to unplug me. So I need to remove her, put my husband, who
Yeah.
will follow my directives. I need to do that today.
Okay, we're doing it.
We're
And
doing
then
it today.
also, once you keep up with your estate plan, right? You want to review your business documents. If you have your business, if you have a business, right, properly structured, with the documents required, not because you just file it. No, you have to know who's gonna get 25% of the business, who's gonna get the other 75%, what's gonna happen to the proceeds if you die, and what you want is for the business to be sold. So you also have to review your corporate documents. Every time you have a big change, every time something happens, at least like once every year and a half, you should review, especially if you're someone who has a lot of businesses or who is making a lot of money or diversify and trying to invest. It's always recommended.
It's a living, breathing document, just like the
Correct.
Constitution.
Correct. It evolves as you go. And I'm going through this with one of my clients now. She came to me just to amend an estate plan, the estate plan. And I'm like, yeah, but you have 2 restaurants, you have 1 business, you have like 5 properties. You gotta review all that, and I gotta see what those corporate documents say, because it's just not that easy. You want all the documents to reflect what your estate plan is gonna say, and all the properties gotta be properly titled and all that. It's a lot of work, and some people are very unaware of the need to include everything in the estate plan.
Yeah, it's like building. It's like when you're expanding your house. What's the difference between going to an architect GC versus having a handyman just like slap on some stuff? Tell us what the issues are with having a handyman slap on some stuff to the addition of your house.
I'm currently doing work on my house, and I did have multiple handymen come do random things. And when you do that, all of a sudden, when you go to fix one thing, the other part wasn't done in a way that matches, so now you have to redo the whole thing. So my grandfather built the house around when I was born, so 30-ish years ago. Everything was done very expensive, top of the line. It lasted about 30-something years. Now that I am in the house, everything piece by piece is starting to fall apart and fall apart and fall apart. But when you want a quick fix to something just what works, cool, it lasts for a little bit, but now something else is messed up. Yeah. Now what do I do? Who do I call for this? And then who do I call for that? And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Let's just pause. Let's look at absolutely everything that needs to be fixed and do it the right way so everything works together, because, and not for nothing, I'm gonna end up spending more money doing it by piece and then having to fix it all over again. It's still annoying to do everything because a 30-something-year-old house has a lot of issues. Like, it's just a lot of freaking work. So I highly agree with, when you're gonna do something, do it right, because it's gonna cost you more in the long run when you piecemeal it. And no, but I just wanna do this right now. But everything else has to coincide. Like, one thing does not work properly without the other thing. So I'm a big fan of just like, do it all the right way the first time, even if it costs you a little bit more money. Because I promise you, you're gonna spend way more money 10 years down the road when all of a sudden you didn't do this properly and now you have to go and revise everything. So, which is great that we all do all of it, because they can come to Mari and say, I want an estate plan.
Can you add your businesses to your estate plan?
Yeah.
Can you title your homes into your estate plan?
Absolutely.
Can you title your investment properties into your
You
estate
can
plan?
do the whole thing.
Do the whole thing.
Yep.
And we do it all.
And some people say there are 2 types of clients that I've encountered. The ones that say, oh yeah, I want to have it, all organized. I want everything to reflect my wishes and whatnot. And then there's the other type of client who's like, oh, I'm giving them enough while I'm alive. Let them solve it. Let them pay for it once I'm dead. I respect that.
I respect that too.
I respect it.
You hustle, let them hustle.
If you want your family to go to probate,
let them.
it. I mean,
let them.
I've heard some horror stories about probate. Tell me, you're obviously the probate pro. Give me some, like, if I'm someone that I'm an affluent, or maybe I don't need to be, very wealthy, but let's just say I have a couple things under my belt that I want to give to or at least allow my children to not have to go through the issues of probate. Why is probate such a big deal?
So a probate is not a 4-letter word, right? Like, not all probate is nasty, not all probate is bad. But generally, probate, what it does is it lets the legislature write your will for you, because we have a law set by the people up in Tallahassee that says this is how your property is going to be divided when you die, and you don't say anything about it, right? So what's going to happen is they don't take into account the feelings that the person has. For example, a client that's like, no, let them figure it out for themselves. Okay, well, actually, they're not going to figure it out for themselves, because what the state's going to do, or the court is going to do, is they're going to take that property that you have and they're going to split it however the statute says, which I'm not going to get into the statute, but it's going to be even pretty much for everybody.
Yeah.
What if you have a child that needs more, right? What if you have a child that needs, or that you left them behind a little bit younger, you know, an 18-year-old that, because we're not going to get into the minority stuff, but like, let's say you have an 18-year-old child who is just starting out their life, and then you have a 33-year-old child who's already married, has a business, and has children.
A life. And
Those two people have very different needs. How is the state going to treat them? Exactly the same. And your kids are not going to figure it out for themselves amongst themselves. That is the quickest way to have your family fall apart.
Correct. And what if the siblings don't get along? Because
somehow they always manage to not get along.
I have one of my cases right now is about that. Dad dies, mom dies a couple of months after, and they go to probate. They get a property, very expensive property. They don't get along. They haven't spoken in years. One brother is occupying the property. The other one, you know, he built his own life, very nice people, very, you know, educated and whatnot. And he tried, my client, the good guy, tried to convince the other one, hey, let's invest, let's do Airbnb, let's sell the property in an amicable way. But this guy is just, he doesn't want to. And now he pretty much is being obligated to file a partition action against his brother. And he, when I had the first consultation with him, I could feel he was in so much pain, he didn't want to do it. And I told him, hey, I know I can see how you feel because it's very sad for you, but you're not doing anything that you're not, you know, you're just exercising your rights right now. You've done more than enough. Like, we have countless emails, you know, from my client to the brother, trying to convince him, hey, in this way we can make more money. Let's title the property to an LLC. Let's invest. Let's do this. And then the guy is like, I don't want to. Mind you, the guy who's occupying the property, he already has an apartment. So it's not like he's gonna be left on the streets once the partition action happens, right? You know, it's finalized. So it's very hard sometimes for people to get along. All this would have been avoided if the dad says, okay, let's sell the property when I die. Okay, this is my will and my probate. I have my estate plan, you know, properly structured, and my trust says when I die, sell the property, divide the proceeds in half. That's it. Now they have to pay an attorney. They have to go through the court system. They have to go through accounting because you also have to determine who pay what.
And
what
it's all
correct.
public.
And it's correct. And in the meantime, there is a notice of a lis pendens filed in the city. The property cannot be sold. It's just like frozen.
What's a lis pendens?
A lis pendens is a notice that you file to let everybody know that the property is in litigation, and it puts a cloud on title. So nothing can happen with the property.
What's a cloud on title?
It means that the title is going to be dirty, and you cannot transfer a property with a dirty title. So yes, so it's just nonsense just because they couldn't come to an agreement. And at the end of the day, the partition is going to happen, and the result is going to be the same, you know. But they're going to get less money, which
sucks.
All
very
because they
sad.
just didn't
it's
plan.
very sad. Correct.
And you know, people think, oh, whatever, they'll figure it out, and it's their money they have to spend. No, it comes from the estate. So what you're doing by letting your property go to probate is you're giving the government some of your own money.
Correct.
Think about it. Do you really want to give the government your money when you don't have to?
Yeah.
I think we pay enough in taxes.
We pay so much in taxes. You really want to give the state a little bit more of your money?
Yeah.
No, man.
That's tough.
That's a lot.
Because that's what a filing fee is. It goes to the court.
Yeah, we don't. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't make any money on the filing fee. It's
a lot of
It's a
fees.
negligible amount, right?
Yeah.
So it's like $400, $500. But still, do I really want to give Uncle Sam $500 for no reason?
No, I don't want to give anyone anything. I'm giving
And what if you want to leave all your money to the Catholic Church? I promise you, your kids are not going to do that because you told them to do that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to be like, ay, abuela, lo enterramos. But that money that she wanted to give to the Catholic Church, I think we need it more.
Yeah.
And there was the Catholic Church.
I mean, I think they have enough money, but
I was about to say that.
Whatever
But
charity.
that is fine too. But
I want to give all my money to a dog rescue shelter, whatever it is.
that's something my grandmother would do.
Yeah, that's something my grandmother would do too.
1000%.
Yeah, I mean, look, the probate issue, the whole process sounds like a big mental health something to deal with, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's,
But-
by the way, the time that it takes, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
not a 2-day thing.
one, it's public. Now all your shit is public. Two, there's a 3-month period for the creditors to come out of the woodworks and be like, yo, you owe Wells Fargo $1,500. You owe Juanito Perez $40,000. Whatever. Trust me, the creditors, they will come.
They'll arrive.
They will come. Amex is gonna come knocking on your door and be
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
owe me $60K.
And Amex, they don't. Sometimes you're able to negotiate with like Discover, like Chase. Amex, they don't care.
Amex is like,
No,
And until that debt is settled,
Yeah.
you can close the
they'll
state.
they'll keep your soul until you pay
Yep.
up.
Yeah. No, and then
Yeah.
they'll force a judgment on you if you, as the PR, if you don't. So
Very
they'll
interesting.
get their money.
No, yeah, they'll get the money.
Just plan accordingly, people.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
And book therapist.
Book a
sessions.
therapy session
Yeah,
for
book
those
a
that
therapy.
decided not to plan
I
accordingly.
wanted to touch on that a little bit because we've mentioned before that they've suggested therapy sessions.
I
and
have.
It was lightly mentioned, obviously, to kind of make it a lighthearted
Yeah.
situation, right? What was the straw that broke the camel's back for you?
I think I have a lot of, aside from work, because work is work, and thankfully we deal with work together. So we share that burden and that stress and that anxiety. But I have a lot of things in my personal life that kind of inhibit me from, I guess, giving 100% to the opportunities that I have or that I should have, that I kind of block myself from. So it kind of got to a point where like my self-help is not self-helping anymore. And it came to a point where it's like, I need somebody else to help me figure this
professional.
out. Because it's getting to a point like other people are noticing it. Because when it's just you, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But when other people are starting to notice like, hey, but why do you handle these situations this way? Or why do you avoid these things? Or why are you not allowing yourself to be in a
Expand,
relationship
yeah.
to date? Why have you been single for 8 years? Like, why are these things?
Or, personal growth.
Yeah,
what
like
if
there's a
you-
lot of things that go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And like for me, for instance, I like going to the gym. For me, I wake up in the morning, if I work out, I'm a better person. Like I feel like I do things better. It's gonna be the same thing. Mental health should be handled the same way as physical health, but I've been putting off the mental side and just dealing with the physical side.
Because it's less
For me,
scary.
the physical is less scary. It's easier for me to commit to. And it's something that I know exactly how it's going to go. I know I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. I know exactly what's going to happen. Dealing with mental health, you don't know what's
You
going to
don't know
happen.
what's gonna come out of there.
That's
so-
a really good point.
It's very
don't know.
scary.
That's been my biggest
Yeah.
thing. I don't want to sit down and find out what could come out. I've been very much like, close that box, leave it under the bed. I'm not moving. It's cool. So that's been my mentality on it. But now it's gotten to a point where like, okay, if you want to move into a bigger house, if you wanted to move into these bigger areas of your life, you gotta start unpacking, throwing things away, figure out what's there. So I got to that point where I'm like, all right, it's time for me to address the unknown.
And also, we didn't have the resources before, which is
Yeah.
an issue that a lot of people encounter out there. Mental health is expensive, and if you don't
It
have
is.
insurance, which not everyone has access to, it becomes complicated, and that's why like people struggle with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, they deal with it themselves or deal with it
And
themselves.
like I noticed that these days there's a lot of awareness, but back in Cuba, like anxiety.
Que
Ponte a
eso, yeah.
limpiar,
Yeah, my parents
¿Estás
still think
aburrida?
that way.
recoge el closet, no sé.
My
You can,
parents still
yeah,
think
it's
that
just
way.
like, it's not a thing. You're not allowed to feel any type of way. Ay, está dramática, Gina Cabrera. Hollywood se perdió un personaje. Like, Hollywood doesn't
Yeah.
know what it's missing with her. So,
But now it's
here-
very accepted. Now it's
Yeah.
become a conversation. Like now it's not a taboo thing to talk about. Now it's like an easy conversation that people are having at lunch, at breakfast, it's just,
Yeah, and I think it should be more accessible than
it should
what
be
it is
100%.
now.
Yeah, I mean, everything takes time, right? Society takes time to adapt to this.
Yeah.
Women couldn't have credit cards until like 1970 something. My mom was born before that. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't that long ago. There's people that we are friends with that were born before women were able to have credit cards.
Yeah.
So society takes a little bit to catch up. It's just about doing the work.
We all do.
Yeah.
We as people take time to catch up. I'm now catching up to that side of health and wellness. So
And the reality is to be a better attorney because we're dealing with people's problems all the time. And the amount of time I think about my clients' problems, and sometimes I'm like, okay, let it go. You're not at the office right now, let it go. You have to have some sort of professional, and then professional help to like guide you through your life, because then you'll become one of those attorneys out there like sad, depressed, like with a bad mood the whole day. I don't want to be that. I want to be a fun young attorney who enjoys life and the weekends, you know?
Which
you
we
don't
are.
want to be that snappy attorney.
No, and I don't want to be, because I'm not that person, so I don't want to get to that point, which is very easy when you spend the day kind of like
listening and doing what we do.
Listening, confronting, babysitting, opposing counsel, you know, trying to think, how am I going to say this without sounding too bossy, without sounding too dramatic? Even sometimes, okay, is my tone like too intense? How this judge
are they
is
seeing
gonna,
how I actually feel? Or?
Yeah, it's like, let me be in my hearing
politically
mood.
correct.
Exactly. So all those things, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, look, mental health is obviously taking some type of popular stance in culture for the past, I don't know how many years. It's become a big thing. You mentioned earlier, like in Cuba, mental health. I said, get out of here. What are you talking about?
What even is that?
A lot of that has to do with culture in the less fortunate. We have bigger problems to worry about.
Than that you woke up sad today.
Yeah, when you don't even know what you're going to have for dinner.
Like, what's worse, your hunger or your sadness?
There's a lot of disconnect with that part. Here in the United States, we have a little bit more cushion to say.
Yeah, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Capitalism. We live in capitalism. Like that's just the way it is. And if you want to get ahead, then this is probably one of the best structures in government entities to have. But that's where I think the disconnect happens. But also, maybe I don't know the details of this, but like mental health being a thing for people who get convicted of like crazy murders or crazy crimes. That's a thing too. Right?
I mean, but that's a whole, like the prison structure in the United States is like it's a whole other thing. But I mean, I think that now, from what I've seen, right? Like from watching TV, from watching documentaries, I think that they've started to implement mental health care for these prisoners, for people who are going through. But it's not just in prisons too. My brother's in the military, which is its own sort of loss of your own person, right? He's subject to whatever the United States tells him to do, and there's a huge mental health crisis in the military in general. I mean, my brother's in the Navy, but I noticed that these guys have like such a tough guy attitude that they don't want to. It's very taboo. It's just really, really taboo. And
you don't ask for help. You don't need help. It's just it is what it is.
And it's also because of the indoctrination of this training.
Yeah.
You can't be soft.
No.
You can't be soft when you're in the middle of the ocean in Africa and you have a automatic rifle and there are pirates that are.
Estamos en África.
Well, that's where my brother is, right? Like.
I could not do it.
This is what my brother does. My brother's on a ship in the middle of Africa where there's pirates all around, right? And he's, ferrying these prisoners who, are drug dealers, like this kind of stuff. And like, it's scary. And
He's just Katiuskas. He's a little
baby.
Yeah.
Katiuska's little baby will like shoot an AR-15 from the deck of a ship and fucking kill somebody. So Katiuska's little baby is actually a really tough guy.
I think he's doing great.
But
he's doing great.
Yeah, I love my brother. Shout out El Niño.
El favorito de Katiuska.
I love my brother. He's finally coming back in December. He finishes his contract. So
and that's it?
Yeah, he'll finally be home.
Look at that.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Good. But like we talk about, me and my brother have always talked about mental health, and like I've always been the person that he comes to when he's in crisis. So, but what I've noticed is that there's not a lot of support in the military, which I'm sure happens in prisons too. And it's like these very male-dominated sections of society.
Yeah, I remember the first week of law school. I remember because
when they give you all those programs
when
and
they
all that
gave
stuff.
you all the programs for, to
It's almost
be
like
aware.
a warning. Like they were like saying like, this is it. If once you pass here, you're screwed. And it was like every day was just like the possibility of becoming an alcoholic.
Yes.
Mental health issues.
Swear to God, yeah.
How do you handle your stress? Because all these things will pivot very quickly, and next thing you know, you're drinking your problems away.
The first thing they tell us is
Yeah.
that attorneys have
40% of law students have depression when they start law school, and then 60% get out with like massive depression or whatever, like the highest.
Alcoholism,
Yes, and we even got an email once from the dean. I screenshot that shit. It says final season is coming in 2 weeks. Something like keep in mind not to take Adderall, and I'm like, I can't believe.
Like it's
Manage your
addressing
Adderall
it.
intake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Manage
your
your
Adderall
Adderall
intake and your energy drinks intake. Like something like
Like,
very
they know.
explicit. And I was like, yeah, of course they know. Like it just,
And they even ask you, like, how are you handling your mental health? Like, what do you do to de-stress? Like,
Yeah.
let us know. Like, this was like a process that we had to go through. And I'm like, I don't even have time to think about how I'm going to de-stress. I'm just
I'm just gonna
stressed.
shoot 15 monsters.
Yeah,
to the
like, let me
face.
just sit here with my 5
Yeah.
Celsius, like, and just write it out.
And my skin starts itching, and you're like, wait,
What's
why am I
happening?
dizzy?
and then I remember one time that I was
Fainting in the
crying.
library.
I have broken up with this guy that I've been seeing, whatever. And I had a constitutional class, and I was crying, and I'm like, okay, that's it. It's been 10 minutes, literally. I don't swear, but yes. I was like, okay, yeah, I've been crying for 10 minutes. I have a phone law class right now. Then I just
And
log
that's
in,
it.
and
I
that's it.
think we've all done that.
You just gotta put it aside.
Yeah, I've stepped away. It was in secure transactions. I was literally so dizzy because of my anxiety
Yeah.
that I felt like I was gonna faint and I was gonna hyperventilate. So I stepped outside and I put in like headphones
Earplugs?
for like 10 minutes, and I did like a meditation. And I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how Section 9 of the UCC works. Walked back in and
Yeah.
listened to the rest of the lecture.
And we make fun of it now because this is a coping mechanism and we went through it already, but it is real and people do not understand.
No.
People who didn't go to law school, you have no idea.
I should have taken the warnings when people told me, like, listen, if that's what you want to do, it's hard. And I was like, it can't be that hard. I know a lot of people that are attorneys that, they could do it, I could do it.
It's very
Well,
hard.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
hard.
if I can do it, you can do it, right? Like,
Yes.
I wholeheartedly
Yeah.
believe that if you put your mind to something, and if
You
I
could
can
do it.
Yes.
you can also do it. I wonder if doctors feel the same way.
100%.
I was just thinking about that because one of my best friends from Cuba, Gabriela,
Oh, yeah, she's a doctor.
she's a doctor, and she has such a nice personality, very soft-spoken,
very soft-spoken.
very sweet, like very relaxed, and she is a very good doctor. And yes, they go through the same. They don't sleep because remember they also have they're on call, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have las guardias, and then
My dad did them
and your
for
dad and your
years.
mom, exactly.
My cousin's boyfriend,
So-
he's finally now this year exiting from like his residency into like attending where now he's gonna have like one hotel, one hospital he's gonna be at. Like this is gonna be your schedule. But for the last 3 years now,
He was on rotations.
it has been rotations with 3 different hospitals, overnight after overnight, the next morning, this, that, on call. So like you can't do anything even if you're not in the hospital because you gotta be ready to go if you have.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, when we were both going to school at the same time, like I was doing law school while he was doing medical school, and like we talk and he's like the mechanisms of trying to relax and like the inability of people to understand how stressful it is because not for nothing and not that they do it like with bad intentions or like without love, but everyone's like, but just take a break. And it's one of those things where you're like, if you tell me to take a break one more time or to relax,
Hey,
I'm
are you
gonna hit
anxious?
somebody. Yeah.
Don't
like,
be anxious.
like my mom, no te estreses, like don't stress.
it'll be fine. Will it? Is it? Are
It
you?
won't be fine.
Who told you that?
Because then when I fail, you'll be
Yeah.
the first one to say, pero ¿qué hiciste mal? ¿Cómo puede ser eso?
It's stressful.
It is very stressful, and the expectations and the whole thing. is
Because not
just-
only are we stressed because we want to do well, but now we know that people are expecting us to do well.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, sure, nothing's wrong.
It's like granted for people that we're gonna do well and then we'll be fine. No, it is okay to fail.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
think so, but
Yeah.
I don't feel that.
I
way.
don't
No.
like
But
failure.
we're moving
There's a fine
towards
line.
that.
There's a fine line.
I've
It's
learned a
fine
lot.
line because with failure, it's a learning experience for sure. I think the sweet spot is how many times failing in the same thing
Yes.
before
Yes.
you decide to take a step back and
Like,
reanalyze.
assess what you're
Like
doing.
reassess
Because
what you're
if not-
gonna
if
do.
you fail the same thing over like multiple times, then you need to kind
You
of
need to assess what it is that you're doing incorrectly.
What is it? My brother tells me this all the time. It's not delusional. It's crazy. Another synonym for crazy or something like that. And he's like, do you realize that you doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result?
Oh yeah,
the definition of crazy.
There's a definitely. He's like,
That's
of
that's
insanity.
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 It's actually not. Insanity is a legal term. That
Yeah.
is, but you know, whatever.
But it's one of those things that people tell you because, well, like you have to take a step back and be like, what am I doing that needs to be adjusted or changed? And it could be something so minimal, but it makes such a huge difference. Like,
But it's very hard to recognize, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong,
Yeah.
or say, oh, I'm doing something wrong. It is fairly easy for me, I would say, because I'm self-aware of who I am and my flaws.
I'm perfect and I know everything I do wrong.
Yeah,
It's not anything.
correct. Do I always do something to change it? Absolutely not. Oh,
Yeah, I
I
think-
know
I
you're
think that's my
there,
biggest
but not
issue.
today.
Do you recognize your own flaws and think, I'm just not going to change that?
No, I don't even
I
think
do
about it.
that.
I just
okay,
ignore it.
I do
whatever.
that. I recognize that like something is obviously like it's in my relationships with my husband, poor Sal. But like I'm like, yeah, I probably acted a little crazy, but I'm not gonna change it. Like, do
No,
you guys ever do that?
That
I
part,
try to improve myself.
relationship-wise, no. But
He's
no.
like, this is why my marriage has lasted for 15 years.
Yeah.
Get on board.
no, because there's another person that's involved.
Yeah.
True.
If it's
if it's just self-sabotage,
self-sabotage, I'm like, tomorrow.
yeah, there's a lot of things that I know that I do that I
Or
or
in
I
a
should
few
change, and
hours.
I'm just like, that's
Give me-
okay.
Let me take a walk. I'll take walks. I take walks like crazy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I hate
Walking
getting
is
up and
I
walking.
love
very
doing
good
walks
for mental
because
health.
That to me is when I take a walk, my wife is like, "What's wrong?" Like
Really?
she immediately she recognizes, and then I'll be like, "Nothing's wrong. We're good. This is the way for me to, you know how you guys are three partners and you have conversations about what makes sense for structure of the business.
Yeah.
My business partner is the walk. I take my walks and
Okay.
It makes sense though.
recalibrate, restructure, envision what it is that I'm trying to attain, develop a plan to attain that, and then as soon as I get back, it's like,
Yeah.
Let's go.
this is what we're doing, this is what's gonna happen.
And it's invigorating too. Like when you take that step away and look at everything and you decide, okay, this is what I'm changing, this is the approach I'm gonna do, you come back to it like a brand new person. Like that's probably one of the most exciting times for me. Like,
Energized.
I'm energized. Like there's days where like the day ends and I'm like, I could keep going for another 24 hours. Like I'm
Yeah.
because it's working. Like what I'm doing is working. And there's other days where I'm like, I need this to end right now.
Yeah.
I took a walk to the mailbox the other day. It made me
What a
feel good.
long walk.
So I should try again.
Yeah.
You should.
That's great.
Maybe I'll make it to like the side of the house.
I go
Walks are
on
good,
walks
man.
with John
Walks.
all the time.
Walks, at least for me, they give me like a, I don't know, like an outer body experience. I don't even know where I'm at in the moment until I stop thinking about what I'm thinking about, and I'm like, oh shit, here I
Like where am I?
They call that walking meditations.
Walking meditation.
am. Well,
They
that
call it
could- that
meditation.
could be
Yeah, they're Headspace. Like that's an app I use or whatever. And one of the teachers was a monk, and he says that you go on these walking meditations where you like disconnect and you brainstorm.
Yeah, you rewire
You
yourself.
rewire.
That's exactly what it is. I brainstorm like
Yeah.
crazy during my walks.
John and I choose different neighborhoods and then we go on walks. Like we'll park and we're like, okay, let's go walking around Miami Shores today. And we'll be like, okay, I like that house. And I go, yeah, but with the money you're making now, you gotta like, that's not gonna
Those
happen.
are different types of
Yeah.
walks. So I love those walks where
I
I'm like,
love
those
are
blinds.
the yeah.
Hideous.
Oh my God! Look at the way too many plants.
Look
on
at those
the outside.
columns and too many
then we'll talk
plants.
about that, and that's funny.
My
like
wife
that
and I do
landscape.
that, but not with walks. We take drives.
Yeah, I do that with my
We
mom.
take drives. We'll go to Southwest Ranches and be like, let's take a
Visualize.
Visualize.
But that's
I
fun.
like that one, but you know what? I like it more modern. It's too
Yeah.
traditional for me. That one looks really nice. Love the windows, big ceilings.
Yeah.
I've
the
already
Spanish
accepted the fact that like
style.
when I buy my own property, I'm gonna end up completely gutting the whole thing
Yeah.
and just doing what I want. Like until I can do that, I'm not doing it because
No.
I know I'm gonna end up nitpicking little things here and there, and like I mentally have pieces of what I want, and I know I'm never gonna find it.
Just do the whole estate.
So I'm just gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
Tense moments in the Idaho student murders trial today as the judge warns Brian Kohberger's defense team from the bench that they are making dangerous accusations against the state.
Fox 13's AJ Janabel covered today's proceedings. So AJ, what upset the judge here so much?
Today's hearings covered everything imaginable, from how to refer to DNA evidence, if family will be allowed in the courtroom, and if the state can use a replica dollhouse they made. But the most shocking moments came toward the end of the day.
The accusations he made in there are very concerning. The kinds of accusations, if true, that would get people disbarred.
Kohberger's defense team continues to allege that the state has cell phone records that would show the defendant's location around the time of the murders. And that location wasn't anywhere near the crime scene. The state told the judge they never got the records, but the defense was not buying it.
What's the evidence of that, counsel?
The evidence has been in the practice that I've learned from people that I've worked
You're giving
with.
me that testimony now?
I'm not giving you testimony. I'm answering the court's question.
Okay, but you've made some serious accusations against the state of hiding evidence, and yet you've provided no factual basis, zero, that evidence existed for them to be able to obtain it in December.
The defense worked to...
It's a violation. I think it's called the Brady violation. It's a discovery violation. The state has to turn everything over to the defense.
There's no
Good and bad.
surprises. There's no.
Even stuff that can like potentially
The mitigate.
blow up the whole case. Like the state has the obligation to turn everything over.
So that's the Ohio massacre of the guy that is being tried for slaughtering four college.
I remember that.
in their off-campus home. Super crazy. My wife is the one that put me onto that.
Which also what they're doing as attorneys, like making those claims, like officially making it that part of your
have to be very
complaint
careful.
without any factual basis, like you can't do that either. Like you need to have some sort of grounds for saying that. That's why he's questioning. Like you don't have any reason to be saying this because
no, you need to back up those allegations.
Yeah.
But everything else they're doing, so like those are called like motions in limine, where I don't know what they're called in criminal court, but in civil
The
court,
same,
they're
motions
motions in limine. So like you go over all this stuff,
Housekeeping matters.
housekeeping, like what's going to be in, instructions, like how you're gonna. That's
How do you
pretty
want to
normal.
address? You want to wait for the objection to be granted before whatever. Yeah.
You go through all that housekeeping.
Okay. Next.
opening my gate.
The judge in the courtroom has now been sentenced to up to 2 years in prison for the previous charges in which he was originally in court for. So today, the suspect entered the courtroom in handcuffs, shackles, and gloves, and a spit mask. And this was for his sentencing. He's also facing now new charges because of last week's attack on that judge. So he's facing those new charges as well.
That time it expired at about the time of the plea. So
He's there as his sole purpose for today's hearing.
He can't. You
Any
crazy?
other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
Interrupted is
I
like
like that she didn't.
didn't change anything.
You
I
mean
like
when he
that.
fucking
when she was
Superman flew over
attacked.
Very well
that
put.
is our
Interrupted.
favorite.
I like that.
All right.
No, but I like that she was like, I'm not changing the sentencing.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like,
Well, it could have been over fucking thrown. Like, if she changes it to like increase it, it could have been overthrown.
yeah, because now
Yeah, but
because
that was
of the
smart of her.
incident. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like,
Oh, that's interesting. So if she changes it, it could be overthrown the entire.
I don't know about overthrown, but not overthrown. That's not
But
what
I
they
would
call
argue
it.
that it's retaliation for
Yes,
what happened.
exactly.
If,
That's how.
I don't know if that's the thing because we don't do criminal law, but I mean,
Interesting.
but it can be seen as retaliatory, I would say.
yeah.
Okay. Last clip.
intoxicated, you're
I
facing
like
up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you 3 days in jail, credit for the 1 day that you've done. You need to understand, ma'am, that this charge will go on your record anytime from now on until the end of eternity. You get pulled over, an officer's going to see this. If you smell like alcohol or dope, what do you think they're going to do? Right. From now on, it's a minimum of 30 days in jail. You understand?
Yes, sir.
No more proverbial slaps on the wrist.
Thank you, Judge. And we did discuss the 1-year program, Judge, and she would rather do this.
You'd rather have a conviction than a dismissal, huh?
I don't really have the time for it, and I know I had mentioned before that I don't work, so
It's not a good thing. One day you're going to look back to this day, may not be today, may not be tomorrow, and you're going to be like, why the hell didn't I do this deal? Because all you literally have to do are 2 classes, and then they dismiss the case. And you got to stay clean for a year. And if you can do that, no conviction. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good luck to you, man.
Wow.
And she said that she doesn't have the time, but she doesn't work.
So what exactly
What
are you
is she
doing?
doing?
She just doesn't want to stay clean for a year. Because it's 2 classes, then you have to be clean for an entire year.
She wants to keep smoking.
Yeah. Wow. That is
That's
so
so sad. People
That is so
ruin
sad.
their lives over these things.
Yeah. Well,
I don't recommend it.
Don't do drugs.
no.
Don't do drugs. Go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
And if you have a legal question, you can always go to rrb-lawyers.com.
Help yourselves before you wreck yourselves. All right?